What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the DaGamer podcast. We are now on episode 10. I am Antonius the Gamer, once again joined by my co-hosts, Mikkel Smith and Super SSS Rank. Fellas, thank you for joining me for another episode. I'm glad we were able to come back together after a short break. And, we're back with more pod and anime and gaming news for y'all and commentary. And we were talking about this pre-pod, so I figured while the energy is still going, we can get right into it, fellas. It has now been the official debut of Gear 5 Luffy. Luffy Tunes has arrived. It's descended. No more teaser trailers. No more rollouts. It's here. The internet's talking about it. Crunchyroll had a brief crash last night trying to upload the episode in time. It's a major talk of discourse now that it's hit the anime. And I'll let y'all start it off. How are we feeling? How are we feeling, guys? How are we feeling now that it's been officially revealed?
I'll let you.
Greater than yours.
I'll let Jory go first.
I don't know if y'all remember that episode of Naruto where Pain and Naruto were fighting, and Pain went to punch the ground, and then So there's a video on YouTube you'll find it. It's called "My Pain Is Greater Than Yours" because of the animation, and that's what I felt. The animation was good, but it was like a surrogate child of that episode. Of course, the genes are better, the genetics are stronger. It's an evolution of, your offspring. It's another copy of you, but it's exactly what I thought it would be. Tex Avery, Jim Carrey the Mask, and so on and so forth. Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner running through the painted wall tunnel, and then a train coming out and running over Wile E. Coyote. It was Wile E. Coyote sawing off a tree branch while he's on the part of the tree that's not supposed to fall, and it falls.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, it's exactly what I expected. I'm glad everybody who likes One Piece liked it, but I don't think you should ever try to compare it to the transformation of the father of all transformations, Super Saiyan Goku. It's not the same. It's good. It's good for you guys because you guys are those generation of people who seem to point the scales in their favor towards certain things. Well, it's not the same. It's cool. I understand. It makes sense, and I'm glad you're aware of it. Uh, it's what it was supposed to be. If that's what Oda intended for it to be, who am I to say, "Hey, Oda, what are you doing?" It's exactly what he wanted. And I always want the artist to do exactly what they want. I can't stop Tex Avery. Hey, it's Sunday morning. I want a two and a three and a two and a three. I like to sing it. Hey, it's a great episode.
Was there no part of the episode that impressed you in a good way? You weren't rocking with any of it.
Tom and Jerry, is you ain't my baby.
No.
Tom and Jerry eating the piano. You know what I'm saying? Eating the piano, and the piano keys are his teeth now. That's slap comedy. Let's go for it. That's what he wants. Let's do it. The eyes popping out of his head, grabbing his own eyeballs and inserting it back in his head. Him pulling out a I don't even know what you call it, a horn, and it says "auga" instead of "hey man, let's do it, man. Let's do it." I'm all for it. That's what he wanted. Let's do it. Next episode, we already know we can expect the fight between Rob Lucci and Luffy. Well, Rod Lucci hits the side of the wall, and it is what it is. I mean, let's go for it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go for it.
so Tori's doubling down, tripling down.
Let's do it, man. That's what the people want. Let's go for that. Man. That's what the people want. Let's give the people what they want.
Oh my gosh. Tim, what were your thoughts?
It was perfect.
Okay, perfect. It was perfect.
It was perfect because when you remember our past conversation when we were really starting to really understand what Luffy true powers is, you have to understand it's going to be insane. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. And I feel like it lived out that the moment from he grabbed him and he was swinging him around to the point even when he tried to like shoot back at him, the way how he just grabbed the ground and made it like almost like a extension of him to bounce it right back at him. Because like you even when Doflamingo like unleashed his awakening, you saw like, all right, this man has the ability to affect the environment around him in some form of a way. So like yes, and he was a paramecia. So imagine a Mystic Zoan or a Logia, what they could possibly do in their awakening powers. So like yes, like it was insane. It was insane. I loved it. And then to be honest, man, it's just that ever since that one shot from Kaido in the beginning, it's kind of like, yeah, it's overdue. Like we need some comic relief, like sweep the floor with this man, because like it's always been like this chaotic battle of forces with this dude since the beginning, since the absolute beginning, and it's kind of to the point where it's just like, well, now we're actually starting to see him get angry because you could tell, like, due to his physique, due to his powers, he's always had an ego, like to the point like his ego was like, all right, well, sometimes I just want to kill myself, but it can't even do it.
Right.
So it was just, man, it was perfect, man. It was perfect. And then what I really do like is just the whole demeanor, like when Luffy, like when he's talking to himself or just when he's like laughing hysterically, it's kind of like something just came over him. Like there's just this raw sensation that even he can't even control. Because when you look at the animation, when he falls to the ground, look how goofy he looks and just gets back up. It's almost like, it kind of reminds me of when Rock Lee drank the sake by accident and we got drunkly. It was comical. It was enjoyable. It was so enjoyable. Like yes, we never saw it again, but it was just the fact that he just became this unpredictable moving force that not even Kimimaru, a man who was basically almost invincible minus a disease, it was like, can't touch him. You can't touch him. And I kind of feel like that is what we needed. That was what we really truly needed. Like yes, One Piece is going to give us that still signature, very big climatic fight, and then like how you said, you still see it in the animation. The stakes are still high. The stakes are still high because Luffy could have just absorbed a blast or probably took it head on, but no, he didn't. He still, he found something to deflect it back. So you could tell, like, yes, I have this new form, but I'm not going to take this fight lightly, even though that's what the animation makes it seem like. But no. So it was perfect. It was perfect.
Okay.
So Super Saiyan, Baryon mode, Deku, I forgot what his transformation is called.
The full cowling.
The full cowling. And here we have Gear 5.
V8 juice.
Okay, all right. So two polar opposites. Jory doubled down. Tim doubled down too, technically, and loving it.
V8 juice. V8 juice.
Obviously we were talking about this in the group chat and then prior to the podcast. I'm at least for this initial episode, I'm siding more with Jory. The reason being, like I said, there's parts of the episode I thought were great. I think the actual transformation sequence was fine. Love the animation on that. I love the way they kind of portrayed the concept of what you said, Tim, about how he affects the environment around him. So when he's hopping up and down, you can see the ripple effect on the floor of it turning to rubber as well. So I love the way they kind of showcase that of like, yes, he really is affecting his entire environment with Gear 5. I love the fact that you could see like the Conqueror's hockey like rippling out through the walls, and you know what I'm saying, like kind of like his presence was being felt essentially. I thought that was really good. I actually think the transformation sequence was fine. It was perfect. Where I take issue was just actually the really thing I took issue with was him knocking back Kaido's attack, and it was more so with the animation style. Like it was cool, right? I'm like, okay, I already know his eyes pop out of his head. It's in the manga. I already knew it was coming. The issue I had is there's this part where like the screen is kind of shaking a bit, like trying to showcase him pull, and I'm like, this is just. It was just animation for animation's sake.
It was too fast. It was too fast.
Exactly.
All right, I know which part you're talking about, and because at some point I was like, what just happened?
Exactly.
Then, yeah.
It's like had I not read the manga, I honestly would not have known what he just did. Like it was just animation for animation's sake. He's like Jory said, he grabs his eyeballs. You can see him pulling at the ground. You don't even see him pull it up. You just see the camera just shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking. And the next thing you know, Kaido's eyes bug out also. And I was like, and this is what Jory was talking about. This is exactly what Jory was talking about. So to me, I'm like, it's potential. Obviously, it's about to be 4 or 5 more episodes of Gear 5th. And I think they could probably figure out a way to make it more stable. But I think if it's going to be something like that, where like the animation is going to take precedent over conveying the fight, I'm gonna probably end up siding with Jory, because that was the same issue. I remember even with the whole Six-Tail Naruto versus Pain fight, that was the same argument of like, it looks ridiculous, but everyone's like, but the animation, because the animation was cool. It was cool, right? It was like the things that they were able to do in terms of like the fluidity at that time. But like watching Pain hit the Sonic the Hedgehog run, watching him get bashed on the head with the rock, like what was actually happening was foolishness, you know. And I feel like Go ahead.
He punched the ground and water came out.
Yeah.
Where?
Right. And then he starts skating on the water and knocking away chakra lasers, and it got.
I mean, all right, bro. No. When you put it that way, because like, first of all, look at Toby Rama, for example. He was such a proficient water user that he could literally create water from the molecules around him. And remember that body that Pain uses. He was a water user.
Mm-hmm.
Nagato. Oh no, Nagato. No, Yahiko.
Yeah.
Yahiko was a water user. So like, of course, like, you know, with the enhanced power, the Renegon, who's to say this person cannot do the same? Where you basically, you punch the ground, but you know your chakra is so immense that you're able to create water from just the actual molecules that you need.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. I think that's a fair kind of argument. I think, to me, like I said, my whole issue is what happens after that, and that's kind of like, that's going back to the whole Gear 5th. I'm like, that's the issue. It's like, I don't mind creative liberties, right? Again, you know, looking at the Sanji Queen fight, the Zoro King fight, they took liberties with those fights. There's things that happened in the anime that did not happen in the manga at all, or they kind of expanded upon it. Let me say. So I'm not against it. It's just kind of like when it turns into something where it's like, okay, are we just kind of defying the laws of what can happen here? Because I remember in that fight in particular, it's like, you know, Pain's whole thing was like, he can use the almighty push, but only in short bursts. And he's using in that fight every 2 seconds, just knocking away this, knocking away that. I was like, what is happening? What is happening? Since when can he withstand getting hit over the head with a crater? You know, like a piece of rock. Like, that never happens.
I mean, well, technically, the body is already dead.
Oh. But the bones are resilient also.
He went into it like a nail. He went to the ground like a nail.
Bro, that was ridiculous. The body is already dead, bro. The chakra receivers
are the things that power. Okay, all right. Fair.
I can't take the science on that one. I can't go with the science on that.
Well, I mean,
he turned into a nail into the ground.
Well, Naruto is not the most scientifically accurate one. Remember, this is also the same series where eyes are getting popped in and out like like a Lego piece. Oh, your Sharingan? Mind if I borrow that real quick? Just assimilate it to my entire body?
Now I am the true Uchiha.
Yeah, bro. So, you know, like, Naruto was never an anatomy class study ever. But yeah, for me with Gear 5th, it didn't win me over. I would say, but again, it had its good moments. Again, I would say the transformation sequence was cool. I think there was a couple of shots that actually looked really, really good. I think the little quick shot where they paid homage to the other gears looked really dope. You know, so it wasn't an episode to me that was just like, now we're getting into like the slapstick, but it got dangerously close, is all I'll say. And him reflecting Kaido's blast was like, if this is how the fight's gonna end up, I don't see myself liking it. Because I literally did not know what was happening. You know, like, I like Kaido's reaction shot. It was cool. But I'm like, that whole, like, we're just going to turn up the animation to 11 because all the people are going to be like, oh my gosh, the animation, look at all the smoothness. It's like, no, we're still conveying a fight and still conveying a story. And that's been my issue with Gear 5th the entire time. I'm like, it's sometimes putting the story on the back burner for look at slapstick Luffy, in my opinion. I guess before we move on, we don't have to get into the whole is this better than Super Saiyan, but in terms of, you know, modern day transformations in some of the more popular anime series, how do you guys feel like this will potentially stand up over the test of time? Is it like the Super Saiyan 3, where Super Saiyan 3 is kind of divisive for people, but a lot of people really love it. You think it's going to be kind of just like widely accepted?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's One Piece.
yeah. Like, cause like even when I would say Bound Man and Snake Man were first introduced, like bro, people just loved it, man. People just love the fusion of like armament hockey and like hit the expansion of his powers, whether it's like a bulky type of Hulk looking bouncing type of character or like a slender like supersonic fist type of fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is really like a very almost like a very god tier like level transformation for me.
Okay. Okay.
And I see it aging pretty well. Like comparing it to like Super Saiyan, like the thing about Super Saiyan, bro, I kind of felt that, especially like with the whole transfer from Z to GT, and then now technically jumping into the multiverse, and then Super is like a division from that. I kind of felt they didn't really know where they wanted to take Super Saiyan, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind
You're
of
right.
feel that's and I kind of feel that's where we are now because I saw somebody tweet this earlier. They said Super Saiyan 4 was literally the perfect transformation for the final evolution of a Saiyan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? When you look at it, because especially our theories is it's a hybrid version of the Ozaru state
Mm-hmm.
in their base form, but of course, with the Super Saiyan power attached to it. And I was like, yes, bro, that makes so much sense. Like, look at the savageness of it, the fur on their arms, and it's just like it just felt like, yeah, bro, you don't need to go higher than this. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, they brought in the God key and things of that nature. And then, that was basically your base body, but you're using a different level of power. But then you're attaching Super Saiyan onto that. But then, what Vegeta did in the anime against Toppo was so you basically went Super Vegeta, but as Super Saiyan Blue.
Right.
So are you telling me we have to go through the levels all over again? But of course, here comes new transformations. Well, actually, technically, they're techniques. They're not
Mm-hmm.
transformations.
Mm-hmm.
But then still, color palette, looking type of physique, things of that nature. So it's kind of like, and that's why I like the other universe of the Saiyans better because they were bringing revival back to like Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, even, Kefla was almost there.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3, like, and it felt like a revival. Like they're trying to bring this back into the fold. Like, even what they did with Broly, like Legendary Super Saiyan, technically, that's the purest form of Super Saiyan, and only one Saiyan possesses that every lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Kale and Broly, they are the purest form of Saiyan. So, like, they're basically like the Kenpachis of their race.
Right.
Like, their power is always escalated. And I just like to feel like, wow, we're bringing back Super Saiyan forms in a very strong light that, like, they could stand up to, that they could stand the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, to get back on topic, like I do foresee this lasting for a good little bit. I would like to see like how the stakes change as we get into the nitty gritty of the final chapters of One Piece, versus Blackbeard and things of that nature, or even versus the military again. Like how is this going to fare against the new fleet admiral or Blackbeard in general, or whoever else that they may fight? Especially like, they're going to about to be throwing out more awakenings. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you know, a person like of his caliber, if he has an awakening, what does that mean? What does that mean to the terrain around him or
True.
just his body and stuff like that? Does hockey still work?
Oh, you never actually seen like a Logia awakening for
Yeah,
yeah, so we
you've
don't know what it
never
looks
seen
like. Yeah.
you don't know what it looks like. As of now, we've only seen Parametheus and Ancient Zoans.
Mm-hmm.
And then, to be honest, is like, they did hit about like, ancient zones, like when they reach their awakenings, like, is like something primal takes over them. And then, in Luffy's case, that could be like part of his,
Mm-hmm.
that real lunacy. Like, it's just the fact, like, this man is just simply, he just laughing. He's just laughing and his feet is in the air. And it's just like, hey, you could tell it's that moment when you're laughing, but you're trying to control your laugh as well, but your
Mm-hmm.
body just takes over. So, I'm looking forward to see where it goes. I'm looking forward
Okay.
to see.
Okay. I think it'll age well as well. I think it's one of those things, like you said, Tim. I think it's gonna over time it'll kind of refine itself and make more sense. One of the things that One Piece has done fairly well, in my opinion, is like the long term payoff, right? So like going back to Endy's Lobby, right? Look how many chapters and episodes it took for us to kind of figure out what Zoro's nine sword style was, right? We were just like, where did this come from? Where he used nine sword, 3-headed Asura, and then you come to find out years later, like, yeah, that was his hockey kind of spilling out. It was a hockey ability. Same thing with Sanji, where it's just like, why does this man not catch on fire when he's using, Diable Jamba? And you find out that, because he's been experimented on his whole life, and that's his body's natural resilience to things like that. So I feel like with Gear Fifth, it's hopefully something that where it's like as it goes on, like even like you said, like maybe there's more emphasis on why Luffy's laughing with lunacy. Maybe there is more discussion on the primitive aspects of a zone fruit, and you're just like, oh, okay, I can kind of get behind this. I was just kind of curious because I feel like nowadays with transformations, is either people love it out the gate or they don't. So like in comparison, like Naruto's Baryon mode, I haven't really seen any pushback. Like people love the design, they love the concept behind it. And it's like it's probably gonna stand the test of time.
Well, actually, no, because it already has. Remember, Baryon mode was just basically a mode where there's an ultimate cost to the point, bro. Kurama's dead.
Yeah.
Like his whole chakra existence, which I think they could bring him back because when you really look at it, and this is something that they kind of prove with the Gold and Silver Brothers, is like, all right, like look how like they just consumed his like pieces of Kurama's flesh, and they
Mm-hmm.
became like fake Jinchurikis in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Now, for example, look at Naruto's children. They gained the abilities of him, like with the whiskers and stuff like that. So maybe there's remnants of his chakra within Boruto and Himawari. And then maybe like, with some newfound six age path magic out there,
Right.
they're able
Untapped
to
alien thing.
take those chakra elements and just create. Because as you can see, the Uzumakis, they could survive.
Mm-hmm.
They can survive without it. Like, yes, Naruto was like in a very weird state, but they have gone to show that Uzumakis can survive the transfer process.
Yeah.
To what extent, we don't really truly know. But but it's come to the fact, like like look at like Sage mode might be getting more. I would say more time. I would say like a revival of Sage mode because it's kind of like yeah, you use it against pain, but then after you got the Nine-Tail Cloak, the full power, you just kind of just always fused it together.
Right.
It's kind of like when Kaioken started got
I was
pushed to
just
the
gonna say.
side.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then technically it's still a technique. Yes, it has transformative look, but it's still a technique. So I do feel in terms of like yeah, since Baryon mode is gone, and whatever the future of Naruto holds for him as Hokage, I do feel like Sage mode is going to get more of a revival because you've already seen that now through Kabuto, Mitsuki.
Oh yeah.
Even when Hashirama came back, it's like oh, this dude has Sage mode as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like so you see, like this probably might become a thing where, like the Jinkirichis, they might be becoming a thing in the past. Even though technically the only ones who are still left is
I think Killer B. Yeah.
Killer B, and Gara to an extent, because
Yeah.
Gara still has a connection with the Shukaku, even though he's physically not in him.
Mm-hmm.
He can still enter that world and talk with them. So I don't know. We'll see what the future holds.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm good to move on unless you guys have any closing thoughts, but I was just kind of curious as far as, again, transformations can be literally hit or miss. So at best sometimes they're neutral, right? Like even like Deku's full cowling, I'm like, it's fine. I don't love it,
Yeah,
but
it's fine.
yeah,
It's fine.
so
It's
okay.
fine.
Okay. Good to move
Yusuke's
on.
was a miss.
Oh, his Yusuke is a demon transformation?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
miss. He could have went. He could have went the whole official season just being Yusuke, and it would have been fine.
It
Nah.
You,
Nah.
you know
Go
what?
look at the design, man.
Yeah, well,
Go look at the design.
we'll say that for a future topic of like transformations throughout the anime, because
Yeah.
I would agree with the design. I wasn't crazy about it. I do think it was necessary given where the series was going. But we'll get back to that at a different time. Moving on to one of the other topics we wanted to cover this week. Dreamcon in Texas just wrapped up. We saw a lot of viral videos or just videos over the past week of kind of recaps, and it looked like obviously there's no particular con other than I would say maybe like Blurred Con where it's like specific towards an ethnic group. But DreamCon obviously is put together by RDC World, who are all Black content creators, all anime enthusiasts, all game enthusiasts, and it just looked like a lot of Black excellence. Not for nothing within the content creator space out there. You're seeing the Black cosplayers, you're seeing the Black content creators, you're seeing the Black professional gamers. All out in Texas having a mostly good time. And I shared in the group chat the video of the girl that's saying that DreamCon needs to be canceled because she had reserved a ticket to get into an event, and there were people getting to the event ahead of her, even though they didn't reserve a ticket, and so on and so forth. And we've seen this a million times where it's like minority groups, particularly us, put together an event, and because it doesn't go perfectly, it's like this needs to be canceled. Now, obviously, none of us were able to attend. So I wanted to speak more generally about it. What do you guys think about the ideas of the Dream Cons and Blur Cons? Is this something that we need to allow room to fail for maybe the next 2-3 years before it kind of gets right? What are you guys' thoughts?
Yes, like all good things, it takes time to refine. Because look at us for example. Jory's an artist. I'm a filmmaker. You're an actor. We've all had to take a few L's from time to time to mature our craft. Now, yes, our focus is to be better, and that is what is always going to push us to reach new levels of quality. So yes, if these creators have that same vision in mind, but then by all means, give them room to fail. Yes, not fail to the point where like they tarnish their legacy, but fail to know like, well, all right, we made an error in this area. We will, through time, hopefully for next year, we will make amends on those mistakes. And I use the words amends as a way of accountability. Yes, I see where I went wrong, and we will put extra effort to make that error right for the next time. So yes, give it room to fail because bro, there's many things that have failed out there. Many things, many things. I do feel like this current social media climate, like they kind of rule in absolutes.
Yes.
Like if it's not their way, like everybody has created this. Most people, actually, I say most people have created this new wave of my way or the highway, and that's no different from a previous generation. That's no different. You're just wording it different, but the true essence of it is the same thing. So yes, like it was a good event. People are people minority groups love to see that presence of their own and to take part in especially a space like this with their own. Don't be a hater.
Yeah.
Don't be a hater. Yes, things went wrong, and hopefully they rectify it. But no.
Yeah, and I agree, and not for nothing. Like even some of these events that have been well established, they still have incidents. I can't remember which con it was, but there's been incident reports with the featured guests that they have, right? Jory and I have had multiple conversations prior to this podcast about the voice actor that plays Broly and Edward Elric. Some of the things that he's been accused of doing at cons. There's been reports of, unfortunately, physical, verbal, sexual assaults at very well established cons. And then something like DreamCon, where I'm like, as far as I know, other than I'm sure there was other complaints as well, but everybody seemed safe, right? Nobody seemed like they're were robbed or beat up or taken advantage of, and that the cliche that tends to happen when it comes to at a Black event, somebody might get shot. Nothing like that happened. Everything seemed to run relatively smoothly. I saw more people having a good time than complaints, in my opinion. And to Tim's point, I'm like, okay, they can continue to refine this. This is literally something that's being put on by content creators. That's something we don't really see. Usually it's a bigger company putting this together. Like the fact that it was a bunch of, people who've had upstarts on YouTube, just like anybody else. It seemed like a success to me. It seemed like something that hopefully has a longer legs going forward. But Joy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same page as you guys. You know, crabs in a bucket. Like let's break that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a very good thing that it's on its what year is it on? Fifth
I
year.
think this is yeah.
It's let's celebrate that it's on their fifth year and it's only expanding. So with what's happening, yeah, they just have to learn, and I feel like the overall heart of what they want the event to be is what they want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You saw people having a good time, people jump roping. I think
Yeah, that was
everybody's on
fire.
the same page when they get there. Like they're on the same page when they get there. And like, yo, guys, this is a place where we could just express ourselves and be, man. Like, I was waiting for this in high school when people was making fun of me, but I could be me,
Mm-hmm.
fully,
Mm-hmm.
with no judgment, no compromise, nothing, and we could all just like you got people from all walks of life. It's like, yo, man, I could have been out here doing this, but I'm here at Dreamcon just having a great old time. They look forward to it. It's their, it's their they people looking for an outing where they can just have innocent fun. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be sexualized or anything like that. Just like let's have a place where we can have innocent fun. And I think they're achieving that. And it's just gonna come into a more professional um for them. And I think it not being too restricted is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It allows for flow, spontaneity to take place, which like regulars, hey, you guys can't jump up over here. This is da 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 da. But no, they can. The
Mm-hmm.
floor is open. It's organic. Now, if they have a system to where it can always be organic, but at the same time, I don't know some of the problems. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I haven't been there, but I'm rooting for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as long as the message of what they want it to be is still there, the heart is there from those creators, I think they'll do fine. It's only gonna get better. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I would have definitely went to their DreamCon when it was only 200 people,
Mm-hmm.
400 people.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have definitely went to support them. I love their content. I love what they make.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
plain and simple, man. I mean, I don't, just the sky's the limit with them. It's just only a matter of time. Whoever's not on the bandwagon now, just not supporting them. Well, wait till it becomes a rating on this at Google or that on this. I mean, quite frankly, I don't think we should seek out the approval of these companies because
Mm-hmm.
their standards, our standards kind of clash to begin with. Look at jazz versus classical music.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the same. Different attitude. You know, there's shades where you wear a jazz player, loose button up, real stylish shirt. Walks different versus a live orchestra pianist who postures everything, and I wear the flail Shakespeare shirts and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just different, and that's just what's gonna happen. They're gonna create a new level of professionalism. I feel like that is needed to where you don't feel like you're losing or suppressing parts of your character or who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the comment section, like shooting and fighting. No, no, no. You know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
yeah, it's just yeah.
I agree.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, and I guess to expand the conversation further, we've all had obviously different conversations. Part of the reason why, you know, um, we kind of come together and make time to make this happen is, we've all kind of agreed about, not seeing enough of us in these types of spaces. Like it's always been there. Like Jory said, like since high school, I've known plenty of other minorities that like anime and gaming and cosplay and
Always there.
things like that.
Always there.
Yeah, Tim does an excellent job. I don't know if you ever watch his Instagram stories of highlighting, especially Caribbean people who have been influenced by anime and cosplay and things like that, right? So you can tell like it's not something where it's a minority in concept only, right? Like the presence has always kind of been there, right? You see the blur cons, you see these things, you see more of us popping up in all these spaces, even though like you said we've always been there. And my thing is, you know, at what point does it start to tip over of like kind of like the now we're here in your guys' opinion? You know, of like, you know, again, and it's not a shade to some of these bigger companies. I get it. It's one of those things where it's kind of like whoever gets there first. But it's like, at what point do you see, you know, the IGNs and the GameSpots and the Digital Foundries and the, you know, like, at what point do we start to have um, a minority led or mostly minority represented outlet at that level, you know, in this culture?
I think. I mean, like it's just gonna be up to people to make a decision, kind of like what RDC did. You know, what Dreamcon did. They
Mm-hmm.
made a decision. Yo, guys, why can't we have instead of complaining, let's make our own. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go out. Let's do it. Who cares? You know, that's what it comes to. You know, within the community, we kind of tend to wait for somebody else to take up the mantle. But if it's bothering you that much, it is your obligation to do something about it.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's you know, you can go ahead, Tim, if you want to say something. Interject.
my bad. My bad. Yeah, because that's always something that I have always spoken about, this fight for inclusion versus foundation. Like, yes, you know, you want to see yourself more in these type of things done right, this and that and the third. But then if you're waiting for somebody else to do it, you're always at their mercy of what the final product is.
Mm-hmm.
Or waiting, I would say. So that's why I feel like foundation, that is something that you have to do first. And then of course, you know, build community from there to the point where you take up so much spaces to the point where you can't be ignored.
Mm.
Where you can't be ignored and you have to be recognized as your own autonomy and your own economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes
Uh,
work
it-
because
yeah.
you know, sometimes, you know, dealing with people, especially with different mindsets, different behavior outputs, in terms, different work ethic, it can
Mm-hmm.
be difficult. Scheduling, things of that nature. But then the thing about it is, certain people have to have the vision. Well, at the end of the day, is I know this is going to be something that is going to potentially outlive me. So let me contribute what I need to do within my time frame. So for whoever takes over after me is able to, you know, use pieces of their life to push it forward. In
But
essence, is
but to
yeah.
that point, Tim, do you feel like in our community that people are kind of worried about, and I guess understandably so, right, the legacy of themselves, right? Like, I look at, for example, hip hop as a comparison. Um, a lot of the founders of hip hop, like the Rakims, the Melly Mel's, whatever, like, they are not as financially successful, you know, as the 50 Cents or the Jay Z's, you know. But to your point, they stood in it long enough to build the legacy to allow those acts to really push forward and prosper. And do you feel like for nowadays, right, especially in this I need this now culture, do you think people have the patience and the peace of mind and acceptance to be like, this may not pop off for me, but let me still build the building blocks for somebody else?
That's a very tough situation. Currently, the vast majority, I say no.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the patience for it. It's very, very few. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, very few, man, because it's in the media, it's in life in general, workplace, home life. It's just like you always go into this place of urgency that it needs to happen now. Like we thought we were microwave before. It's like, bro, we getting nuked right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah,
know, to you know, to actually pull from what Tim was saying, foundation. You know, I think for us in our generation, we experience and taste longevity in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm gonna go back to grade school because our grade school was a lot different. We knew if we wanted to make a straight A, it was good. We could measure how much it would cost,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a taste of it. And it and like we knew, like yo, you said you want to be the next Kobe, okay? You know how much it costs. We had a level of understanding then. That's because we were more afraid of intimidation. That's why we never pursued it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus some kids now, like yo, it's easy. I said, oh yeah, and off of the two shots that out of a million that they missed, they celebrate as if they won a championship. You know, that's not it's structure and foundation. So back to what Tim was saying, um, one thing that's weird about this generation, they say they have no heroes or anybody to look up to, and I'm like, I said, like I had to humble myself, and when I say it, really, I always technically had a mentor,
Mm.
right? I never said that I never had. I would never say like, do you have a favorite somebody? I would talk to you like, nah, I'm my favorite artist. I said, really? Okay. And to me that would be a red flag because I know they're gonna run into something.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna run into something. There's no way for a human being to build anything on his own. Like I'm not an architect. I go to Home Depot. I am not someone who makes nuts and bolts. I would go to Home Depot to find the manufacturer. I've already accepted that the people that I would like to be like are going to be the people I'm going to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't try to wishfully manifest anything out of thin air. Yeah, you're going to have prodigies, but I already have my personal teachers and who I want to be in the area of gaming, who I want to be in the area of animation, who I want to be in the area of telling a manga story. I have a foundation. I have favorites, all time favorites.
But do you feel like
Favorites in this.
in your opinion, do you feel like those favorites were based off of just their style and influence, or more so the work ethic underlying it, right? So like even like a Hideo
It's
Kojima,
it's that, man.
he's a talent, but there's that work ethic there part.
It's both. It's
Mm-hmm.
both. My favorite player of all time is Michael Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite UFC fighter of all time is Anderson Silva.
Mm-hmm.
These guys worked to be the NGSP George St. Pierre. Uh, these guys worked to be there. It did not come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They worked to be there. They worked to be there. I know that they worked to be there. I tasted the losses with them, or you can go back into the documentary and the same energy you was feeling is the same thing that it was. It didn't
Right.
change. It's this generation for most part they say they don't have a, they're not they don't want anybody to look up to except themselves. And I'm like, you guys don't have it. It's impossible to even I can't comprehend it.
Well,
I
they're
can't
raised on
comprehend
different
it.
things. Like to Tim's point, it's like social media kind of moves in absolutes now, where it's like if you aren't, for all intents and purposes, perfect, you can't be my role model. If you've ever done anything humanistic ever that I don't agree with, said something I didn't like, did something I wouldn't have done, you can't be my role model in today's logic. You know, it's the reason why somebody like Kobe Bryant, who has been shown and repeatedly to be a workhorse, it's like, yeah, but he fought rape allegations. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have any way of disconnecting one from the other. And then on the other end, back to both of y'all guys' points about the patience. It's like you see those stories of like, hey, I started a YouTube channel a month ago, and now I'm at 100,000 subscribers, and you think that has, like you said, Jory, like it's easy. That has to be the norm. No one is looking at the greater aspect of like, when I'm looking on these different pages of like, okay, better ways to promote. One of the people that has given me the most knowledge, he's like, it took me like 8 years to like really get this to where I wanted it to go. He's like, granted, he's like, that was when YouTube was still establishing itself. He goes, but that goes to show you, like, I didn't get this many subscribers in a year, in 6 months. For myself, I'm like, yo, we're on episode 10. It's hard to think about it like that. I'm like, we've done this, I've clicked out that, we've done thumbnails for this, we've broken out segments for this. I'm like, we're on episode 10, bro. Like, people don't know who we are like that. Like, that's just the reality of the things. It'd be great if we took off tomorrow, but I'm like, the reality is like it might take a little while to put that legacy together.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, especially again in our particular community where we don't have as many handouts to kind of skip ahead of the line, are there going to be enough people who are going to see and stay the course long enough for something to actually take off from it?
Well, all I can really say is time will tell.
Mm.
That's all you really can do.
Yeah.
You gotta leave it up to chance.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut off your point, Jory. I just like it just when you were saying it made me think about like, yeah, I think they don't look at the idea of a role model the same way that we were raised on. Of like, look past the imperfections and look at what this person is preaching in their actions.
It's so crazy. And like I would watch episodes of Dragon Ball Z and realize that Goku looks the exact same in every panel, and I'm 9 years old, right? I remember when they gave me the Ronnie Kenshin book, and I would look at it and say, "Yo, he looks the same in every angle." What did that tell me? I said, "No, I have to be able to draw," because I would draw a character and it would not look the same. So
Mm.
within the same character that I had my favorite picture, and I would idolize this picture. I'm like, man, I drew this, and then I'd never forget when my cousin was like, "Yeah, but you can't draw it again," you know. And that moment was, I said, "This is what I was picking up when I was watching episodes of Dragon Ball Z on Toonami."
Mm.
I said, man. And so what I did on my free time, you know how much frustration you're a 9-year-old young boy kid. You cry when you're mad. You
Mm.
punching stuff. You know what I'm saying? You just get frustrated. You kicking the wall. I
Mm.
hate this. You yelling. You know what I'm saying? But that was me understanding. I said, yo, this is not gonna be easy.
Mm.
You know. So then I did, as much as I walked away from it, I kept going back to it. So no, I have to do it. I gotta draw this Dragon Ball Z picture. I remember the Dragon Ball Z books they would have you have where you would draw Goku's head first, and
Mm.
then you would draw the spiked hair, step 2, step 3. Those books, I remember that.
Mm.
And that being me understanding that, like, yo, it's gonna take layer upon layer upon layer upon layer for me to do
Consistency
this.
and repetition and practice
And
and patience and
and I
But
was already, yeah, on I was already being taught correctly in a way without them me actually being at a school.
mm.
Like Tim, you could probably understand. Like you could probably be like, "Yo, I don't know who your favorite director is, but how does he do this shot? Why is this shot so impactful for you? Why do I like this scene so much? Why is the dialogue bringing me into this world?" And you would try to replicate it, and you're like, "Okay, wait. Oh, so he used a wide lens to do this shot. That's why it came out that way." Because I'm looking at my movie, and it's not looking good at all. I use the same editing formula. What is he doing that I'm not doing? And you would be like, so he used a wide angle lens. Oh, so you mean to tell me he had the actor stand at this angle? Oh, okay, so that's why it make you could probably relate. Like you're watching the movie 1,000 times, and it's getting even better and better the more, and you start to realize, yo, there are levels to this. It's not me just grabbing a camera cord and say, yo, I could do it too. No, no.
because first of all, you also have to insert your own spirit into it as well, because it's becoming an extension of you,
Mm.
like Luffy in the ground. It's becoming an extension of you. So it's like, how am I
Oh,
inserting myself
I
into
see what you
this?
did there. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's essentially is, man, because you got to realize your emotions, your thoughts, your way how you see the world is going to affect your craft.
Mm.
It is. It has an impact, like, in terms of, with Anthony, when he's like auditioning for a certain part, it's like, yes, you have to also give yourself some mental prep, but it's like his spirit is going into that. You can hear it in his tone, his eye contact, his body movement, your sketches. Certain parts might have more shades, some parts might have a little bit more contrast. With me, certain parts might have a bit more open ended scenarios to give people room to think, or sometimes I might be too straightforward and just say, we need to strike back.
Mm. Mm.
There's different styles, but it all derives from you. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm more on I'm more on the wild, stylized end, man. So Devil May Cry is probably is one of my favorite games of all time. Second favorite game of all time.
Mm.
Action game is Metal Gear Solid Rising. So you already know what time I'm on. And then another for as far as story, Halo, and then Metal Gear Solid franchise all the way.
Mm.
When I say my brain expanded on the possibilities of telling crazy or powerful narrative and giving people an experience that they'll never get from any other game, it'd be Halo and the Metal Gear Solid franchise, man. That
Mm.
the to go off topic a little bit, when I had to go through the oven in Metal Gear Solid 4, that to me was so crazy. I can't explain it to you. If you guys didn't see, because the build-up started at E3 when you see the trailer, and then it just kept getting better and better and better. And I was like, and then going into the fight where you playing is, or where Raiden is fighting Vap for you. You gotta should make sure he listen. Listen, man. You just had to be there. Or Halo, where you get to the flood, where you meet the flood for the first time. Listen, when I say there's eras that like you guys just don't understand what life was. We were literally was on the golden ratio. We had outside, we had indoors, we had family and friends. For controllers, no Wi-Fi. Yo, Tim got the game, we got the Tim crib. Ant got the game, we got the Ant crib. You got your controller, Jory? Let's do it. You got a big screen TV, analog input, let's get it. But you do interject yourself into these games, man.
Yeah.
You guys can stop me. You guys can do it.
And,
Sorry.
I
Go
think
ahead. Just
all
have
these
it.
things are relevant. I think that that's something where uh, I guess in the spirit of lightening up, like just making a joke is like you go back to the idea of the Killmonger haircut, in that's been taking over the gaming community lately, and it's just like the interjection of ourselves of like there should be somebody there that's like, hey, no, stop that. We're not gonna give DJ in Street Fighter Six the Killmonger. We're not gonna give Miles the Killmonger. We're gonna look at these other influential black hairstyles that black men have done and figured out on their own, and we're gonna pick one of those. We're not gonna do this because we've been doing this for the past 5, 6 years. And I think as we start to make more of a name for ourselves, as the Dreamcons take off, as the BlurCons pop off, as we become more undeniable and have more influential people like the actor from Holes who won a Mortal Kombat competition, or as you're about to get into Evo, and you have a black gamer winning fighters finals. You're starting to put ourselves on the platform where like you can't just have us as an audience member anymore. You can't just have us just deal with, oh yeah, we did put you guys in, but only like this. You have less hairstyle
Dressed
options than a
up,
character creator.
dressed up as animated Bobby Brown, renamed Powerline for the Goofy Troop movie.
Oh yeah, Buddy from Holes, yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
wild.
Because the online narrative is that a Goofy movie has always been a movie for black people. And Powerline, and, the
Yeah.
entire soundtrack was sang by a black
Yeah.
man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
you
crazy.
know what I'm saying? So like, there's certain things where it's like,
Simba. Simba.
the Lion King, yeah, yeah. I mean, James Earl Jones is Mufasa. Like it's come on now, like let's call it for what it is. Um, and then we can move
Right.
on,
Macaulay Culkin.
and we can move on.
Wait.
I just I think it's something where obviously that's something where even for myself, whether it be with acting or even the podcast, where it's like obviously I've told you guys some of my frustrations on the back end of like trying to figure out like how do people, like to Jory's point, how do people do this? How do you have it where the audio sounds like this, the video looks like this, you're able to do that, and it's a learning process, but it's just like, but I do want to, as I've gotten older, I'm like I do want to see more of people like me in these spaces with actual value to bring to the table. And if I have to sit there and take the time to learn, and we'll learn and continue to grow and get better as podcasters and as people in this space, it's like, okay, I'm willing to kind of put in that work to kind of see it take off in that aspect.
And to be honest with you guys, I'm actually look off in the segment. Don't I do want to give my flowers early. I think us coming together, you know, me, you, Tim. I think that's very powerful in itself, man. We have different walks of life, and you know, we're doing exactly what we want to see. You know,
Hmm.
so it's not for granted, man. It's there, and just us knowing what we know when we can, if we get to, well, when we get to a place where we can recognize and talent, that's what needs to happen. Another hand needs to kind of uplift, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so this whole stuff on an island thing is not working, man. I mean, there's one Tyler Perry,
Hmm.
that's a special circumstance, but let's be consistent. What, two or three are gathered. You know what I'm saying? That's more of a powerful thing to do. That's way more power. Two are better than one.
Right.
Three is better than two. Like
Hmm.
it'll be somebody who has the ability to be like, yo, let's go from here to here.
Right.
For everything to succeed.
Yeah, the collaboration
You know what I'm
aspect,
saying?
the
Yeah,
ability of
yeah,
building,
yeah.
building within our community as well.
So we
That's
have to break a stereotype of as far as us, okay, I'm gonna do it myself, and when I get there, I'm gonna cut everybody off type
right.
mentality. So not to
Yeah.
say it doesn't, not to say it happens willingly. You do have people that don't have the same mindset as you. So,
Hmm.
man, that's all I want to say, man.
No, it's no, it's important, and I think that's the other
Yeah,
aspect of our community that doesn't, as opposed to, like I said, the need for wanting, I need it for myself. I think that's the other part of it, of like, am I willing to ask for help, right, within my community? Am I willing to look for help? Am I willing to actually collaborate with somebody without egos getting in the way, right? Of like, my following is better than yours, so this is my show. We run it this way. Can we come together in a way of, we've seen other content creators with a similar style of us. Is there a way that six of us can jump on a call and talk about the same things? Probably. Like there's just certain things
yeah,
that
yeah,
like,
yeah,
we can't just shy away on. Or like, they're gonna do their thing over there, we're gonna do our thing over there, and if we happen to cross
yeah,
paths, great. But yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's something I wanted to bring up because I feel like it's obviously it's something that we're all passionate about in our own ways, and I think it's something where obviously we make our jokes about it, right? The Grand Rising crew and all these things, just out of fun of like wanting to kind of shake up the one color palette of the industry, generally speaking. But I think in
Mhm.
the greater form of a progressive conversation, it's something where it's like, again, it's gotten to a point of like, you can't deny us. We're in this space. We're creating spaces for ourselves. Let's just find a way that we can be integrated more in the culture where it doesn't become us versus them too much longer.
Mhm.
But moving on to our last topic for the day, as we record this pod, for people who end up watching or listening to this later, Evo 2023 is still taking place. So if you're looking for us for the hot takes of whatever trailer drops tonight, we won't know because we're recording right now. But given that, it's been 2 out of the 3 days so far. Friday and Saturday have passed. It's been a bit of a light weekend. There hasn't been too many announcements, which was a little surprising. I think we were kind of used to the whole like Gamescom rollout where it's like Friday night, every single trailer ever dropped, you're just like, oh my gosh. And now they're just, kind of expanding on it throughout the weekend. We haven't gotten anything. Other than, I won't say anything other than SNK, just putting their feet on the table and like, yo, look, all of our games that y'all love are all getting Rollback Netcode. Samurai Showdown. We're giving you guys Fatal for King of Fighters 13 Rollback Netcode. And we're announcing, was it King of Fighters DLC?
No, a new. Well, they did announce DLC for King of Fighters, but then also a new Fatal Fury.
Right, and a new Fatal Fury. So SNK,
A new Fatal Fury.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark of Wolves.
Fatal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves.
City of the Wolves.
Wait, a new game.
A new game.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
New
what
game
about the KI? Did you guys hear about KI too?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. KI is getting
okay. I'm sorry.
KI after 10 years.
Team
Yeah,
Xbox.
after a 10-year-old game. Hey, we're getting Rollback Netcode. Hey, we're going to also drop another patch for balance.
That's crazy.
Under Night Rollback. And it's just like
Under Night is getting a sequel,
right?
Plus
Rollback.
What about Fighter Z, guys?
I was gonna say, if you as long as your favorite IP wasn't Fighters, you were eating good this weekend. Fighters was, if people didn't know, Bandai released a statement literally a day before Evo started saying, hey, we're still working on that. So yeah, the fighting game tournament weekend. Yeah.
Just drop Fighters.
Yeah, we can get right into it. I think Fighters is done. It's over.
I feel like we won't see any announcements until like the finals of their own tournament, because I kind of feel like they're probably just saving it for that. Like, I get it. Yes, Rollback Netcode has really revived a lot of games. Because you have to kind of realize, bro, like fighting games can really last multiple console cycles now. Like, there's no more one and done. Well, unless you're NetherRealm.
Right.
Unless you're NetherRealm, because like there are still people who still play Blaze Brew Central Fiction to this day. Cross Tag Battle. We just said this the other day. Arc System Works has like almost like 5 to 8 games still in the rotation. And yes, most of them have Rollback Netcode now, and people are just playing them all in a circle, bro. All in a circle.
Crazy.
It's kind of like once you said those words, Rollback Netcode, you just added probably like another 5 years to its life cycle.
Yeah.
Man, Yeah, guys, I never thought fighting games would be as potent as they are now, man. Like,
They are the true symbol of longevity now
Mm-hmm.
man, like
in terms of all
crazy,
properties.
It's like they
crazy,
figured out the
man. Like
formula, you
now,
know. Not every
Hmm.
company, obviously, there's some hiccups, but they figured out the formula. Like, here's what you do to kind of have people like Tim said, you play this game 5, 6, 7 years. The minute that rollback starts on Killer Instinct will go right back to the roof with returning players. It's crazy.
Yeah,
wild,
yeah,
wild, and
yeah. Because it kind of
what's it?
brings that. It kind of brings that like. I sorry about that, Joy. It kind of
No,
brings
you good, you
back
good, you good,
that
you good.
signature glory of your favorite arcade game, but in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at it. Like we all were young. Like you know how much money we put into X Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. But it's the simple fact that even to this day, in our old age, like if that was available on digital, we would buy it today, and we would play it
Crazy,
today.
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
And it's the simple fact where, like, yes, fighting games have that longevity now. They do, especially once they've hit like a very pinnacle peak. I would say like Blaze Blue Central Fiction, that felt like the greatest conclusion to this series. And like you don't really have to do much more after this. You really
Mm-hmm.
don't. And people will still play that game. Virtual Fight, yes, I would love another Virtual Fighter. It's just but like look, but Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. It's like, bro, it's great.
They put
It's
everything in
beautiful.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it just needs rollback netcode.
Mm-hmm.
Tekken 7 was a prime example. Tekken lasted the entire PS4 cycle.
Which is
Let,
crazy.
let's go. Let's go back, Tim.
Crazy, yo.
Tim. It came out in Japan on arcades even before considered for the console.
Yeah, yeah. So like it is going to show you, man, like, these games you really do have to consider them an actual investment. Like, and I get it, certain companies take that a little overboard
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like DLC practices, and so many other things. But there are some companies who kind of do pay off. Like, we thank you for your purchase. Like for example, like Arc System works with French Bread a lot, which is the developer of Melty Blood and Under Night. Look
Mm-hmm.
what happened with the last Melty Blood. All DLC characters are free,
Come play our game.
and now they just added to the PlayStation Plus catalog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh yeah, yes. But guess what? We're bringing back the game that saved the fighting game community during COVID. Under Night 2, with new characters, balance updates, new attacks. Yeah, we technically
Even
know. Yeah, we technically know it's 1.5, but we're gonna call it 2 anyway. But then people don't care. They said, "Bro, it looks so good to the point I want it now,"
Mm-hmm.
because they have faith in that particular developer that this game is going to be all that I want it to be and more.
even the Grand Blue Rising
And
looks good. It looks better than
no,
Red Rising.
I have my personal like vendetta
Oh, okay,
against
okay,
Grand
okay,
Blue.
okay, okay, okay.
It
Yeah, but
does look
like the
good though.
first Grand Blue looked like for me it was a ripoff because I was playing it and I was like, yo, this game
It was a
is
tech demo.
Yeah.
It was a tech
yeah.
demo.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is not it, man. And but I see. Okay, now I see what they're doing with the new one, and now Tim, I understand where you're coming from, how you feel. But yeah, that game had potential, and they kind of they just
Hmm.
burglar. What's that McDonald's character
Oh, the
with
Hamburglar.
the
Yeah.
the hamburger? Yeah, the
Ran off with the
hamburger.
players' money.
Ran off with the
Ran
players'
off on the
money,
plug
bro. 'Cause
twice.
twice. So. Yeah, no, I'm actually happy for the people who play fighting games because now I don't know what took everybody so long to give us rollback netcode. Was it pride? Was it
It was Pride.
it?
It was
It was
Pride.
pride. Okay,
Yeah, if
okay,
you
because
for as much as I've been kind of keeping up with it sporadically, apparently Japanese developers historically just don't like asking for help. So the the fact that it wasn't originally, I mean, and people I guess in the comments can correct me, or if you guys know, I don't think it was Japanese developers that originally developed rollback netcode. So the idea of asking for help from another, you know, uh, a group of people to help them with their games was just like unheard of. That's why Smash Brothers has been terrible online for as long as it's been online. Like, they just won't ask for help. And I think once they've seen that, no, if you don't figure out a way online, we will drop your game in a heartbeat. They're like, okay, we need this to kind of, like Tim said, breed more longevity into the games. It's just become more widely accepted. They're seeing that people are more than likely to return to a game longer if they're able to, surprise, play online with less stutter. And yeah, it's just revolutionized the fighting game industry.
Because to be honest,
that's
bro,
what happened with Soul Calibur.
Yes, bro. Soul Calibur, like,
broke my heart. My heart.
Like, honestly, like Soul Calibur's that was 6, correct?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah, and it had all the momentum.
This has been the best Soul Calibur since 2. It had everything that you needed. The guest characters were amazing.
Perfect.
Like, I mean, I did feel like they could have put Rock and Lizard Man in there, but then if they did, everything was been perfect, bro. Perfect.
I mean, they're just clones, though. That's my only thing. If they give you
yeah. All right, yes. Advance more than
you know
move
what I'm saying? Yeah.
But it's just that's what's really killing like a lot of longevity with some of these games is really the online, like the delayed netcode and things of that nature, and it's just the world wants to feel a bit more connected. Because yes, when these tournaments are good, but it's just like nothing beats that same home feeling of like you're just on your couch and you're interacting with all of these people around the world. Yeah.
And Tim, like, do they not realize that that is essentially everything in a fighting game? Timing. So why challenge or exclude? That's you need connectivity.
Right.
It is a fighting game. That is probably the most important formula. It's not in anything competitive. I want to know that my inputs, I am actually good, and you're not good because there's a delay or a connection.
Right.
I'm actually good because I'm good, not because there's a delay. And yeah, go ahead.
Because I remember my worst online experience, and I know Anthony's gonna back me up on this one. Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit.
It was a joke.
I remember. I was like, how like, what is going on? Like, I was trying my best to beat this person, and the next thing you know, things are just glitching, and it's just next thing you know, I lost. Like, like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm looking at my Wi-Fi bars, like, no, bro, it's not my superior Wi-Fi. Like, what is going on?
You sidestep, and all of a sudden you've seen the ultimate animation play out. Like, wait, I blocked this. Well,
you just upgraded to Comcast fast speed 20. Yeah, and nothing, boy. I'm telling you, like, that's why I go back to saying, like, a fighting game. Somebody will say, "Oh, how the characters look doesn't matter." In a fighting game, are you crazy? That's why you pick the character. In fact, because they look that way, you stay with them to learn how they fight. That's how powerful character design is. It's not disputable. Your characters must look good for a fighting game.
Yeah.
They have to look intriguing. It is. You cannot dispute that. It's not a shooter where I'm looking at my feet most of the time and my forearms.
Right.
It's not a first person's experience. I'm looking at my character.
I guess to piggyback off that, right? So Project L, right? Project L is this latest new IP that's kind of being announced, and one of the features that's kind of shaking up the fighting game community currently, from what I've seen, is that they're now implementing actual multiplayer tag team functions, where if it's a 2-on-2, it could literally be Jory and I versus somebody. It could be Tim and I versus somebody and their friends. And now that, again, Rollback Netcode is becoming more normal, crossplay is becoming more normal. The emphasis on having just a solid out the door online experience is becoming more normal. Do you guys feel like this is going to be the next step in that evolution of fighters, of like the actual 2-on-2, 4-player tag team?
Didn't they try that with Tekken Cross FIFA? They tried that.
They tried it a few times.
For the most part, yeah, they tried. It was there. It's there.
MK9 had something similar where you could do...
I can play as as Yoshimitsu, and my homie was playing as Raven. You could have did that team doubles.
Yeah,
You didn't know that? Yeah,
Tekken
it
Tag
was a
I didn't play,
functionality.
so I'm not sure. I
No,
know for a
Tekken
fact.
Cross Street Fighter.
Okay.
Tekken Cross
I
Street
know for a
Fighter.
fact
You mean
NK9.
Street Fighter Cross Tekken? Because
Oh, I'm sorry,
Tekken Cross
guys.
Street Fighter
Yes, that
technically
didn't
didn't
come out
come
yet.
out.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's not.
Thank
No,
you.
actually, it did come out. It was called Tekken 7.
Yeah.
It was called
That's a
According
Tekken
test.
7.
That's a test run, man.
according to the
It's coming.
developers,
No,
it's
no,
30%
no,
done.
no.
That's where Tekken vs Street Fighter is 30% done.
No, they're Harada answered that. I'm gonna go back and find the tweets. He
Nah,
answered that
yeah,
question.
he
He answered that
it's
question.
coming. Quote
Yeah.
Whatever.
unquote. But yeah, you guys feel like Project L is gonna be, the
They
next
created
thing?
Rollback Netcode.
What you mean?
I'm pretty sure the two guys behind the project created Rollback Netcode.
Oh, for Project L?
Yeah, they're the fathers of there's two brothers.
Mm.
They're the
No,
fathers of Rollback Netcode.
you're gonna have
Am I
to
wrong?
research that. You're gonna have to research that, bro. Before they come for you in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, we're only human. We
Oh
can
no, they
correct
can.
ourselves.
I'm open for it. Like I'm not saying it's definite. I think that's what I said. So
Yeah, but do you guys? Because I think that's the thing, right? Where like I think, and I guess Street Fighter V as the punching bag of this, right? Because I feel like it was kind of
Tim, you on the computer?
indicative.
Go ahead and look it up.
Like it was kind of indicative of where we were at that time,
This is from right.
right? Where
Joe Rogan moment. Go ahead and
what's it
look that up,
called?
Jamie.
Like Street Fighter V had the issue of like they appealed too much to the hardcore fanatics, right? Where it's like story mode was an afterthought. The roster was an afterthought. They had like a very small roster of characters that played well enough, right? But a lot of the casual appeal wasn't there. There's a lot of things where it's like, yeah, you do all these things with the frame data. It was the same thing with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where it's like technically it was a sound fighting game. The characters could do a lot of things, but that casual appeal was completely lost. In both of those games, and in Street Fighter V in particular, they had a very long uphill battle to kind of just get back to being accepted. So I guess with Project L and this whole thing of bringing back the online, do you guys feel like there is still going to be a space for more casual appeal? Like obviously Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1, that's what they're shooting for, of like, hey, you'll still have the offline story mode in both of these games. You'll still have ways to kind of play if you're not really into the frame data and things like that. But do you guys feel like the fighting game community could, I guess, make backtracks in terms of like, are they going to kind of go back to this is only for the hardcore fighting games? If you don't know how to do frame data, you're not willing to practice 8 hours a day, don't even bother.
Yeah, well, they're leaving that, man.
Yeah?
They're giving people enough. They're making it balanced for both type of people. I feel like. Because Street Fighter, the modern controls.
I was gonna add, the Street Fighter modern controls. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Street Fighter modern controls are effective enough to keep people playing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Project L's simplicity, to be honest with you, I think I'm gonna use Street Fighter versus Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you played as a Tekken character, the inputs were surprisingly not crazy. They're actually very easy to do. Forward, circle, forward, or down, X. After that, forward, circle. For me, I saw myself playing mainly as Tekken characters in that game. Because the inputs were a lot.
That's true. That was the market of the game. Like you could finally play as Tekken characters in a Street Fighter-ish universe, that picture-ish universe. So I do understand why people drifted more towards Tekken characters, because technically you know all of Ryu's movements already.
True.
You know all of Ken's. But I want to see, how does Kazuya play?
Right, fighting in a Street Fighter style.
Yeah. And then, even when Akuma came to Tekken, it's like, all right, how does a meter burn character work in this universe?
And they turned out to be deadly.
Bro, like him, Geese Howard, are some of the most top playing people in the tournaments, bro. It's just like
Howard. Wow. Yeah.
It was just fun. They did a phenomenal job, man. Like I would say, like Tekken 7, like Bandai Namco in general, like for Tekken 7 and Soul Calibur 6, like them guest characters, bro. Quality.
And it breaks my heart, man, that the Rollback Netcode is what killed it. And they did not, and I hate that it plays into the numbers of them approving another installment when that was clearly the issue.
Well, yeah, and like, cause they took some L's. Street Fighter 4, I mean Soul Calibur 4 and Soul Calibur 5 did not really do that well, and it was just, yeah, they were experimenting with things, but it just, some of it was very sloppy. Because I've come to realize, we got to be very careful with time skips. You have to be
Sheesh.
so careful. Like, even if you plan on a time skip, you need to have a Marvel Cinematic Universe mindset of where is this story going to look 10 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do it.
Yeah.
But then that also goes back into, look at the longevity of games now, bro. Just give them a solid element to the story that, yes, it's going to last a little while, bro, before you get the next installment, but you are going to enjoy the hell out of this right here.
I think, to your point, Tim, they should at least, because now we know, again, games turn around usually 4 to 5 years now on average. Whatever game you make, you need to have that in mind. Like, we don't get another game till 2030. What we put into this game is going to carry the fans till then. If not, don't even bother. Don't give me something where it's like we're going to figure it out along the way. Like, no, if your roadmap isn't
not anymore,
right, isn't 3 to 4 years ahead of time, don't announce a release date. Nothing.
The world is too connected now, guys. Like, it's too connected. That's why fighting games actually, online has benefited fighting games actually, man. Because now I can find somebody to play with. That's
right. I'm not the best person in my neighborhood anymore. I got to be the best person.
Yeah.
Like,
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I did some fact checking, Jory. You were right. It was the two brothers that are making Project Go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You were correct.
Okay,
yeah, because
they created Rollback Netcode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like, even just watching the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 finals, like, to be honest, I never paid for Ultimate Marvel. I thought that was the biggest ripoff, and
I mean,
after
low-key it was.
Yeah, but then after watching these videos, you know what? Next paycheck, I might just buy the PS4 version and just get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's now a legacy title, and the way Disney working, bro.
True.
This probably might be the last one.
I was going to say you might want to grab it now before they give it the Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2 treatment, where good luck finding it now that it's been decommissioned.
Delisted, all that other stuff, man. Because bro. That was horrible.
Yeah, that hurt my soul. I'm like, I should have copped it on PS3 when I had the chance. Now it's gone.
I have it on my Xbox,
bro. Man. You could sell it. You could literally sell your Xbox off the strength of having it on there. It's crazy.
But I would have to sell my gamer tag, so I can't do that.
That's true too.
Yeah.
No, sir.
I guess going into the announcement tonight, and then we can kind of wrap things up from there. Obviously, there will be something Mortal Kombat revealed. There will be something Tekken revealed. Probably something Street Fighter revealed, if we're being honest. And
yeah, probably the next DLC character, Aki.
Yeah,
she is next in line on the roadmap, which I basically see she's about to be a female Vega character. I see that happening.
Yeah,
I mean they got to keep the spirit of Vega alive, even if he's not in the game.
With the claws.
Because Ed is basically Bison and Balrog.
Yeah,
Nakali and no. She's gonna be a mixture of Nakali and Vega.
Gotcha. I'm about to say like Nakali did not come. They hated him.
No. Nakali is not. No, I mean, what was he?
Yeah,
he was basically
he was ogre.
He was ogre. He was just ogre. Oh, they just did that spirit who senses battle and just comes out of nowhere
to get whooped.
Oh, so you came out of nowhere after we don't kill Bison like 3 times.
And Seth, and where was you when all the dogs needed help? But in terms of Tekken 8 specifically, we talked about this during the week. Is there anything that Tekken 8 can announce tonight that would kind of shift the momentum back in his favor? Because we talked about this. They were on a run for a while, and then MK said, "Hey, we're coming," and everyone was like, "Tekken 8, who? What? Where?"
No,
there's nothing they could do.
I would say
it's not gonna be enough. I feel like personally, and I love Tekken.
It would have to be something crazy, right? Like we're bringing Tekken Tag to Tekken 8, something like that.
It would have, it would either. You want that, right? You want that, right?
Tekken Force and Tekken Tag will be in Tekken 8.
It would have to be that. Yeah, it would have to be Tekken Force and Tekken Tag coming back.
Tekken Tag Combat makes perfect sense for 8. You don't need a entirely separate game to do that, because when you look at Tekken, all the Tekken Tag tournaments, they were spinoffs. They had no real
There
story
was no
mode.
story.
No.
Yeah. Mm.
So it was just like brawl them up. And then now that we finally got June back in a game, bro, a full-fledged game, because she was in the Tekken Tag games, and she was basically like the fake boss character, like an evil version of her. But then it's like, bro, tag combat makes so many sense. It is a mode shift, bro.
That is
You could
one of
do
my
it.
favorite boss creations ever, dog.
Unknown, yeah, bro.
Unknown. Oh, the story behind her, even though it's not canon, was amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, man, that whole that spirit, that wolf spirit entity that was behind it, beast.
That's all. That's all you have to do. Tag combat and more character trailers. That's it, bro. That's all you have to do.
But do you think again? We've obviously talked about them for multiple podcasts now. Mortal Kombat, that marketing team, boy. It's like
it's a wrap, man.
anything
It's
anybody
a wrap,
does
man.
once MK drops on the trailer, you're like, you know what? Never mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a wrap.
will it
it's a
compare
wrap.
to the Reptile trailer that's coming?
All right, all right. Well, the thing about Tekken, I think what their focus was about the beta, and that's why I kind of felt like they kept hyping up these character trailers because they were going to be in the beta. But then once the beta dropped, you kind of just enjoy it for now.
And no one was talking like, even some of the bigger fighting game content creators, no one was saying like, oh my gosh, this is the best Tekken I've ever played. Like everyone's like, yeah, it's solid. Like all the close-bedded players, they're not coming back with raving reviews either so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with them, I think I think it might be familiarity too, man.
Well, actually, it was a stress test. They were stressing. They were testing the new netcode system. The new netcode system, the new movements. Graphically, it's beautiful, bro. The stages.
Street Fighter went through the same thing.
Even the character motions, bro. Like, bro, that large trailer and that Chidori. Bro,
they got
like,
y'all guys, huh? Yeah.
No, I mean, each character has gotten better. Like the animation's gotten better. You're like,
Naruto,
okay,
some Naruto.
Yeah, the homage. Come on, they're like, we didn't forget.
Because that was the only character that didn't return to the Storm series, and now we're getting it back in another way.
Right.
Basically, so it was beautiful, man. I'm really looking forward to Tekken 8. I really am, because they finally made some good, decent character decisions. I realize as of lately, fighting games, they're getting rid of the mimic characters. They're getting rid of.
They're kind of getting rid of like the stance character too, right? And when I say the stance character, it's like even though Tekken's kind of moved. Well, even just the fact that what's her name uses like her gun in like her rage heart or whatever from Tekken, Nina. The fact where it's like, she would use a gun, but it was Tekken, right? So it was like the idea of using a weapon just didn't make any sense. And now you're seeing that in Tekken, you're seeing in Mortal Kombat where it's like there's no more stance for weapons. It's like no, Sub-Zero's gonna make a blade out of ice and stab you. Like Fujin is gonna just use his crossbow. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. And then they're also getting rid of the second slot for the powered up versions of the character, because I found it good. Like, so Devil Jean's moveset is part of regular. I hope, I pray, because I don't want Devil Jean as a separate character.
It's so
because like, bro, because you just did it for his father, bro. Like, bro.
Right.
Kazuya has a mode where he turns
all the time. Yeah.
Like, bro, it is it's and because that was always a buzzkill to me, man. It was like, you got Ryu, now you got evil Ryu. You got Kuma. Here's Oni. It's like,
Fighter Z.
Come on.
Fighter Z.
Well, that's a little difficult.
Yeah, anime fighters are a little bit different. You gotta have 8 Gokus. You gotta have 8 Gokus.
I get you. I get it, but it's like, come on, guys. Like, this we already know this.
Especially if you do like a game like Storm where there's multiple generations. Like, yes, like there was the base Shippuden Sasuke, and then you had the Taka Sasuke, then you had the internal Mangekyo. Like, yes, you kind of understood as the grids got higher. Now, where he started to get lost in the sauce was the last until his adult mode. Right. That's where it's kind of like, all right, bro, y'all just lost all creativity.
One new thing, you're like, here's a brand new moveset. Okay.
So
yeah, okay. So Tekken 8. Oh, sorry, go ahead. So Tekken 8 remains to be seen. Street Fighter 6. would the DLC character trailer drop be enough to kind of like?
At this point, bro, it's like
They're good, man. They're good.
it goes back to what I said about Capcom, and and I kind of realized this from watching the latest Resident Evil CGI movie.
Mm.
They don't know where they want to take these stories because that whole story was pointless. They basically were saying like, oh yeah, y'all like the new character models for Chris, Jill, Leon, Claire, and Rebecca. Let's put them all in a movie together for the first time. Like the villain made no sense. The plot made no sense. It's just like, all right, how long are we gonna like expand on this story? Like, oh, Wesker leaked the T virus to the world, and now all these crazy people are just making their own hybrid in the kitchen versions of it. It's like, bro, we've done that 5 times already. Like, and that's why I've said Resident Evil 5 was the perfect closure. It could have been the perfect closure.
Mm.
And that's
six, you could tell they didn't know what they want to do with it. They did not know what they want to do with it. And now 7 and 8 are kind of like these. You can't even say rebooted versions. It's just like
a spin-off story almost. Like I feel like
they different. Yeah. You fight vampires.
Yeah.
Vampires like
actually no. Technically they weren't. Technically they weren't. So it's kind. It all go back to the virus.
Oh.
Okay, I mean, like they manifest as a vampire or whatever as a result of the virus or infection.
Whatever.
So it's
just,
but then it's come to the point where Capcom doesn't really know where they want to take story wise with a lot of their properties. And so Street Fighter, all you can really do is just characters, bro.
Yeah, and
that's all.
And to be fair with Street Fighter, do you feel like they need to? I mean, Street Fighter 6 is selling like gangbusters, bro. Like they're selling like penny candy on the street. That it's
to be honest,
hitting records after record after record.
I feel Street Fighter 6 is basically their version of, and I guess I hope I'm in a good territory right here, but like BlazBlue's Central Fiction, where it kind of felt like a conclusion where you don't really have to expand more about it. Like, or it's near that point, I would say. Yeah. Because, like, yes, like, I would love a story DLC where we talk about, all right, can we finally get this final battle with Akuma? Can we finally get, because when you really look at it, bro, he's literally like the last person standing in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
When you really look at it, like, Seth is Seth, and then whatever happened to Seth, I guess you got to consider, the arcade story of Ed as his final ending, but he's technically just a mad robot.
Which doesn't make for a compelling final villain.
Yeah. Bison is finally disintegrated. No more clone bodies and all that other foolishness. Whatever. Shadowloo is done. Gil is Gil, and they're not trying to go back to that territory because they realize it's too much to deal with. But it's like, yeah, bro, they just don't know what to do. And I do feel like, yes, they've come to a pinnacle point. Just give us a little minor story DLC, wrap it up, give us characters plethora.
But do you feel like at this point, because of how vague that let's just say vague, with how vague they've done Akuma's motivations, that he would make a worthwhile final boss after all this time? Because even with Ryu, it's like he's mastered, or I should say is in the process of mastering like the power of nothingness or whatever, that gives him that little white aura, and Akuma still beats him with that. Like he still beats him with the evil Haru no Satsu. So it's just like, does Akuma warrant big bad final boss energy for you guys at this point in the franchise?
Yeah, because I just want it for closure reasons. That's all.
I mean, it's that, and it's like, I feel like you don't even have to do any too much because he's so notorious, right? He's so notorious. It's just like you don't have to you can go back and watch him as Sprite Akuma, and he's still impactful. When he grabbed Bison and he did the Raging Demon and Bison, you just see, like, you're in the arcade, you get there, your jaw drop. Somebody walking by said, "Yo, did Bison just die?" Like it's already, the storyline's already written for us throughout the games without it actually being written in the game. So now you give us Akuma as the final boss, it's going to be amazing.
And everybody versus Akuma sounds like appealing though, like, because at that point, like, he doesn't have henchmen, he doesn't have like disciples. It's just
him.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna get a Baki fan to come out of nowhere. Oh man, he's
Because he's Baki's dad in the series. Yeah,
you know, he's Yujiro. Without Akuma, you would never get a Yujiro.
Yeah,
Plain and simple, guys.
Yeah, he's making diamonds out of glass on the table with his nail.
Knuckles. Man.
Yeah, with his knuckles, he's breaking, you know.
Oh, speaking of Tekken, they just dropped the Raven trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, when I figure out how to record properly, we're gonna do live reactions at some point.
Oh yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Oh, I'm about to play my Blade music intro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Y'all are going to love this new stage too. Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
I'm about to play the Blade introduction trailer, the rave party.
Yeah, we're gonna have to experiment with sharing screen, and we can figure out how to do that. Because okay, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so Akuma final boss, and then not to talk too much.
I mean, I'm open for a new one. To be honest with you, yeah, I'm open for a new boss. They gotta do it right, man. That's it.
No, I feel like Street Fighter is coming to its peak, just like how Tekken is. So, like, even with Tekken 8, depending how this ends between father and son, this could be probably the final Tekken game where it could be the Blaze Blue Central Fiction. Yes, play this game 13 years later from now and enjoy. With updates.
Yeah, with a high def remaster on the PS6 and Xbox Y, 8K.
I'll probably say the Xbox Dreamcast, because who knows what the future will bring.
Bro, they about to.
The Xbox Dreamcast,
the Xbox Pi, like just something crazy. And then crazy, just to not go into too much depth because we've given them like 2 podcast episodes already. Mortal Kombat 1 Reptile trailer tonight, right? Pretty. You know, Ed Boon is a notorious troll. You know,
we get a He-Man, Lizard Man.
We didn't expect Garrus, right? We didn't expect Garrus to be revealed. You know, and he actually looks cool for once, not boring like he did in 11. You know,
Jax? Jax?
He's basically Jackson Trimmer.
Yeah.
He's like fighting style wise, he's basically Jackson Trimmer with a splash of Chronica that we never got.
Yeah. Because he doesn't seem as like, I mean, he does have those traits, but he's not like the slow brawler that Jax is. You know, like he basically has a sand style, essentially. You know, so
that fatality was brutal.
Oh, we actually got two Tekken trailers.
Wow.
Two. It's a female. It's a new character. It's a new character.
I'm about to say Yoshi.
Yoshimitsu season 1 DLC. Let's go.
But actually, Dory, that leak might be true because the 2 characters that they just showed were on that leak.
That he's gonna make the base roster.
Yeah.
Okay. He'll either be a pre-launch reveal or season. Well, I mean, because even with even with the Street Fighter 6 roster, they didn't confirm who's going to be DLC out the gate. We didn't know that Akuma was going to be DLC at that time. We didn't know. They just here's the roster.
No, why not sell you Akuma? Of course, he's right. Wild. He don't
why not sell you Yoshimitsu, bro? Yoshimitsu has transcended game genres. He's been in Soul Calibur. He has crossover appeal.
Well, you guys think we're going to get Soul Calibur?
No,
I do feel like
a reveal?
I would say 2 years.
A new one. 2 years.
Oh, a new one, yeah.
No, because it reached sale marks.
It did good.
And people have said good. This was the most refined one that they've had.
Like, it needed rollback netcode. That's all it needed.
And a better story, but yeah, rollback netcode. For sure.
Oh no, they need to they have to put budget behind it.
Yeah.
I
think it was trash.
Side note, guys. Sorry. I think with Soul Calibur, it has to have a very engaging story mode. Do it like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Take it back to formula if you need to. You guys have written yourselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Fix it. Because there's no way around it. You get what I'm saying, Tim?
Why are we time traveling?
You have to start over. Why? Yeah, you have to start over. You didn't plan as a company. You guys did not plan to have it make sense. You guys were pulling rabbits out the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to formula, write a cohesive story, and call it a day. Give yourself room to breathe, man. Like, just do it. Just do it.
We'll see. I guess, like Tim said, like they did hit sales, so it's possible.
The market has changed. You have to have a story, And some things you don't have to have a story, but when you don't, it doesn't hit the same.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are noticing that.
Yeah, and the weird part is that Soul Calibur's characters, like their lore, is actually really good. It's really good.
Very good. So why aren't you letting us experience this? Don't give us panel page cutscenes where people like don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I have this fully realized character. Give us.
You know what I realized Soul Calibur needs to like adapt into, because they've given us hints about Greek, Roman, and Japanese mythology. Why don't you incorporate some of those gods into as actual characters? Because Sophita, like you've mentioned, Zeus, Ares, and all those people. Yeah, Yoshimitsu is from Japan. Give us Sokuyomi or Amaterasu or
Yeah.
like
Or just
it's
characters
like
imbued with the powers of those, like that type
yes,
of thing.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Like it's like there's things that they could actually build upon. It doesn't have to be this um um what's the dude name? Nightmare, and this split from the Soul Edge
Yeah.
forever and ever. It does
Mhm.
not have to be that forever and ever.
And
So like
it could still be in the story like this. Soul Edge obviously is still the MacGuffin, but it doesn't have
yeah,
to be. It doesn't have to drive the story every single time.
yeah, and then the thing that I was very displeased is like, bro, Soul Calibur for years has had some of the best stage designs in the
Mhm.
world, bro.
Mhm.
That medieval looking, labyrinth looking, like it's like
Voldo
wow.
stage, Voldo stage, Nightmare stage,
Mhm.
who else stage? Taki stage,
And
Yoshimitsu
and
stage.
Bandai Namco, stop it with these night and day transition stages as a stage.
As a
Stop it.
stage.
Stop it, bro. Bro, like
Hey,
Tweak the lighting.
yo,
We got one.
I ain't gonna lie, you have to edit this part perfect, kid. This is A1. I agree.
Cause Fighter Z, like Rocky Field during the day, Rocky Field during the evening. I was like, bro, what?
Right.
Nah, man.
No hyperbolic timetable stage.
Nah.
No Kami's lookout. Rocky day. Rocky night.
Snake Way.
Right.
How you don't have a Snake Way
Yeah,
stage?
yeah. That was that was my
That's
plight with the
crazy.
Fighter Z. Like the lack of like signature stages, bro.
Mhm.
It's like, come on, bro. Like, and that's why, like, for the next installment, like, y'all got to do better with that, bro.
Yeah.
Because there are some key stages, like even like the Android 13 stage with the ice field. Like, bro, this would have looked beautiful, bro.
Yeah, and why don't we have like a proper, like different a broken city stage, right? They had the Future Trunks stage, but it's like it was so specific to that arc that's like even when they did the Brawly DLC, his dramatic finish takes place in space. They didn't even have like a stage for him. I'm like,
Yeah.
just make another stage. Make another stage.
And then you gave us Janemba, but you didn't give us Janemba's stage, like one of the most iconic looking stages.
Supreme Kai's plan is where you get the dramatic finish. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is like, oh, they won't notice. No.
Yeah.
No.
It's an anime fighter.
You're
That's
not gonna get away with it.
But then you give us this Frieza Planet tournament stage that nobody asked for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That nobody asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Do we even have the Tournament of Power stage for hit?
Nope.
No.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yep. We don't have Tournament of Power or anything.
Nothing, right?
Yeah, the During fight
You
takes
could
place
even have
in
me
space.
fight in front of the what's his name? King, the Judgment guy.
King Emma. That'd be dope.
King Emma stage. That'd be a fire stage.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you could do. Kami's house.
No Master. Yeah.
Master Roshi stage.
Yeah, Kami's house.
Nothing.
Master Roshi stage. Wait, nothing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll obviously have the recap of what Fire trailers dropped tonight. I'm sure we're all about to go watch the Raven trailer. For all our viewers and listeners, I will figure out the trick to screen sharing while recording, and then you'll have real-time reactions from y'all boys. But all right, let's wrap us up. Once again, this has been another episode of the Gamer Podcast. Like I said, listeners, there is another change coming soon as far as name, logo, and things like that. Be on the lookout for that. And I am Antonius the Gamer, once again joined by Mikkel Smith and Super SSS Rank. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching episode 10, and we will be back.